Honorable Men Discord, Selena Gomez crying. Let's talk about it.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything.
So Selena Gomez is crying about President Trump sending migrants back to their native countries. And I'm not understanding why. Maybe some of the countries that President Trump is sending the migrants back to, maybe one of the countries is her native country or where her family's from. I'm not sure what's going on with this, but she's crying, and it's not like small tears. She's crying as though a loved one passed away, and I'm kind of confused as to why she's crying like that. I respect the fact that she has that level of empathy to be crying, but Americans need to think about Americans first. All right, let me shift the camera. Americans, we need to be concerned with what's going on over here first, because there's been a lot of crime going on in this country. And at least Trump is trying to do something about it, something immediately. He's showing that he's a man of his word. Forgive me for the camera angle going all over the place, but he's trying to be a man of his word. And you have platforms like The View who are looking at it like it's outrageous. President Trump is he's what's the word they used? It wasn't stereotyping. He's profiling people, and it's unfair. And listen, I'm not saying this thing is a clean solution. I'm not saying, how do I put this? It's not pretty, all right? For lack of a better way of expressing, it's not pretty how it's being done, but something needs to be done, all right? Now, for those of you who live in states that were affected by the migrants being occupied in your state, you understand that something drastic needed to be done, all right? Again, I live in New York City. I don't know about where some of you may live, but New York City has been heavily affected by some of the migrants. And I'm not saying all migrants deserve to be sent back to their countries, but the ones that were committing the crimes, they deserve to go back to their countries, absolutely. And again, I don't know the process on how they're going about figuring out who needs to go back and things of that nature. I don't know the depth of the process, the vetting process. I don't know those. I don't have the answer for how they're going about deciphering who needs to be placed on a plane and sent back. But I do know something needs to be done. And she's crying, fine. She's emotional. She's crying, but she needs to understand. She needs to understand. The View needs to understand that something needs to be done, because I'm pretty sure the women or the woman who spoke on The View, and I'll put that clip in this video. As a matter of fact, I'll put it right here.
I just think that our military members, many of them did not join the military to do that job. And let me say just finally that they are also racially profiling in doing this. In Newark, New Jersey, a business venue on Thursday was raided, and among the citizens that they detained and questioned was a Puerto Rican man and a military vet. For the 50 millionth time, Puerto Ricans are Americans and disproportionately serve in the military. And so I say all of this to say that I am disappointed, disgusted, and saddened by what I'm seeing.
That woman and Selena Gomez, I'm pretty sure, are well off and are not living in close proximity to some of those migrants that are affecting communities of poor communities, or the middle class, if you want to say middle class communities, which I don't even know if middle class even exists anymore. But at the end of the day, Selena Gomez and the woman from The View are making the type of money where they're most likely in better neighborhoods and they're not immediately affected by the migrants, which is why they can get on there and speak as though Trump is being too drastic, because they're speaking from a place of comfort. Selena Gomez, she's crying from a place of comfort. She's probably in a mansion somewhere crying her eyes out, you know, and she's not neighbors to some of the migrants that are wreaking havoc through the communities. So, you know, I kind of understand people's perspective when they're like, oh, Trump is being drastic, or they feel like he's being drastic and just rounding people up and placing them on planes. I kind of can identify with that sentiment, but I also have to consider those people, those American citizens who are living in areas where these migrants are knocking down doors. Because I saw videos last year where some migrants in groups were just randomly like going into people's apartment buildings and knocking on doors, trying to do home invasions. Now, is that happening everywhere throughout New York City? No, I'm not going to act like it's a war zone. I don't believe New York City is a war zone because of the migrants, but enough activity, enough negative criminal activity has been happening in various parts of the city because of migrants. So President Trump being swift and firm is not a bad thing. For those of you that are not affected, you may disagree with me, and that's fine. I'll see you in the comments. But consider the Americans who are getting up every morning, working hard, and having to come home and be fearful because migrants are in their neighborhood and applying pressure in doing all types of criminal activity. You got to consider those people. You can't just cry like Selena Gomez or make statements as though people aren't affected. And there's a gentleman who, I believe he was on Fox News. I'm going to find the clip and I'm going to place it right after this.
So here's the thing. We have to just start putting Americans first. Like, it's just as simple as that. And I believe Tom Homan is doing the right job when it comes to putting Americans first. And I just want to say this to all the criers out there who are crying over the undocumented immigrants who's been here for years and whatever, like Selena Gomez. Tom Homan has already made this clear. If you are here illegally, you're not off the table. You are committing a crime within itself if you're here illegally in America.
He was speaking in defense of the people that live in those neighborhoods in Chicago that were affected by the migrants. So he's basically saying, directing his energy towards Selena crying, because he's like, listen, you gotta, or we gotta, I should say, United States citizens, we have to worry about home first. We have to worry about those of us that are citizens first and our safety and well-being before we start crying about those people who made their way into the country illegally. And I agree with what he said, you know. Again, if you disagree, I'll see you in the comments. But I'd like to think that this is like somewhat of a unanimous position for Americans. But if it's not, by all means, let me hear, you know, your point of view in arguing this, as far as the way Trump is handling things in terms of the migrants. That's what this is about, how Trump is handling the migrants. I don't want to just divert and talk about other policies that Trump may have put in place. I just want to concentrate on how Trump has been handling the migrants, and your thoughts, and all of you watching, your thoughts on how he's been handling the migrants by putting them on planes and sending them back to their countries. How do you feel about that? But as always, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, share the content with friends and family, because I really appreciate the dialogue in the comments, and whether negative or positive, I'm here for it. Just be respectful, because this is a platform of respect. You know, I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but let's have respectful dialogue, because I'm not here to disrespect anybody. I don't know any of you personally. You don't know me personally, but we do have point of views that is worth getting out there and sharing. Because to be honest with you, when I say I'll meet you in the comments, it's not to say that I can't be swayed. If you argue with me in the comments, and by arguing I mean if you have a valid point, I just might switch my perspective. And that's what grown man talk is about, and that's why this platform is here. It's about grown man talk, you know. So I appreciate all of you. Continue to support the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.